Well, good morning, everyone. September 2025,
The
29th.
last Monday.
Good morning, everyone. This is Jason Schwartz here at the Neutral Zone. MauiNeutralZone.com. MauiNeutral.zone is where we're going to put them up and call them podcasts.
Oh,
Break
yeah.
out in our new name, which we've been doing since 2018. I am really happy to have Scott R. Bushnell with me. This is sort of, I wouldn't say it's unprecedented. When I started putting them into the computer, and we've done a number of shows.
We have. It's been fun.
And the 17th Amendment has been in the middle of a bunch of them. And
17th, 10th, all
think
of them.
of all
yeah.
the things you've spoken about. If all the words you spoke, if someone searched and said, well, he said blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
then it will come up and they'll be able to see which show you said that in, Scott.
Absolutely.
How's that?
I love it.
So, and not only that, that's what I call a good use of a bank called AI.
Oh, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
but we take that and we personalize. What does that mean? Right now we're loading things up on shows, but and all the things we've done, we're going to make personalizing. Like when I had my website building thing,
Yeah.
and I had AI do it, it took out that personalizing. And
A little.
well, I'm talking of me.
Oh, for you.
I
yeah,
watched
yeah.
and I saw in the creation where those few words that I use purposely
Mm-hmm.
to separate it from something and to show a concept in a different way
Right.
were emasculated. Or, they said, oh, how can we say that in a cleaner, more clear
Well,
way?
I think
And-
it gentrifies it a little bit.
A little bit. It's been interesting. And
You know,
I'm searching
but then you can
to
go
find-
back and just make the tweaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to stick with what they
Scott R.
generate.
Bushnell, by the way, AlohaSwimLessons.com.
Yeah.
I've heard, as I'm doing this, cognitive dissonance, I'm seeing all these key words and all the
Yeah.
words you've spoken over time. Not only is he gifted and really brilliant, and I look at your concepts over time and I recognize you're someone who put concepts together like me and like others. We have a following in the world.
Absolutely.
You told me that after our last show, let me take my headphones off, may I?
Sure. You have hearing that works. I don't. This is good for me.
For me, it gets confusing. I don't know what level I'm at. I just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. As a hippie, I don't think of myself as a hippie.
Oh, Jason,
They were just slightly
come on.
younger.
You're-
1968, 69, I was 18.
Yeah.
And I remember driving right in that pocket with my father and mother and my brother in a Buick Electric convertible down, I don't know if it was 125th Street or, I guess it was, my father had a store in Harlem and I was just comfortable. And there I am taking pictures for my high school thing about what's going on in Harlem. Little did I realize I was taking pictures of drug deals and all kinds of things. And I always thought, why did I focus on this?
It was just another borough, wasn't it?
No, what was interesting is because I was a little boy and we were in black. Everyone was black except me, my mother, and my brother, and I felt totally comfortable as a kid and everything. So it wasn't that I felt no fear. I didn't even think about it. I didn't think of fear of black people. It even bothered me.
Never crossed my mind.
But it was interesting as a kid. Because of that, when I went to school, and there were like a couple of black kids when I went to school, and one was the daughter of Arthur Prysock, singer. This was Janarda Prysock in my high school. No difference, but she was stand out, and just I watched, observed, and enough that in my high school yearbook, it became, "Don't discriminate, goodness comes in many colors," was my quote from my whole high school yearbook. So it must have made enough of an impression that I was aware
You
of
were
it then.
smoking the wacky tobacco.
I know. Wacky Tobacco was a college experience.
Oh.
It may have continued into adult life, but as a kid, I never knew from Wacky Tobacco.
No, I was.
And the reason I mention it is, that's when I first remember feeling that thing about what is this prejudice. I grew up in a beautiful house with a father and a mother, and
Yeah.
maybe we had our own issues internally. Nothing really great.
Yeah, I mean,
Still love my brother and my father and my mother. My
Yeah.
father and my mother are gone. And then to be in a place where I had no issues, and then suddenly to watch how people would treat people differently because of that, and I always was weird about that.
I grew up in a Catholic family and Catholic school, but my father was probably he had kind of an Archie Bunker kind of appeal to him, but I don't think he had a racist bone in his body because I mean we had a family business, at least in my era of being with my parents. Downtown Portland in the industrial district where the railroad tracks converged, a building built by Chinese laborers, 100 years earlier, 100,000 square feet. And my father served in World War II. He ran Higgins boats in the Philippines and all those islands. And my father said, I've taken so many colored men and all men to the beach, and he was in some of the worst invasions. And he said, everybody bleeds red. And he says, you never treat anyone different. And then my father has this other funny story he tells, because, he joined the service right after World War II. Nobody knew where Pearl Harbor was. Unbeknownst to him, he would be there shortly. But he was actually doing some training for the Navy, and he was on the East Coast, and he went to the White House. And back then, at White House, you just kind of wandered around in. And he said, I went in the Oval Office, and then I opened a door, and I said, oh, there's a toilet. And he went in there, and he used the toilet. He said he took a poo in there. He goes, there is no difference between me and the president. We all got to go and use the bathroom. There is nothing that separates us because we all do the same thing. We're all human beings. And despite his kind of not younger, my father I was born when he was 40, so he had mellowed, as my brothers and my sister told me. But he did have a baseline that you don't cross that.
Well, the reason I brought this whole thing about why it was so present as I'm starting the show is only because I think prejudice, when I hear the word prejudice or I experience it, it crosses color lines. It does. You have a different opinion than me.
Yeah.
How am I looking at you differently? Just to
exactly.
me, it's the same kind of prejudice.
Exactly.
Like you mentioned that after our last show, you had comments.
Oh, I had horrible comments.
That's horrible.
I had to block not people. I had comments from maybe they were AI generated just because there were a couple keywords that I tripped. I don't know.
Well, let's not go to AI at the moment. Okay,
yeah.
What did they say?
Well, it was how can you support this radical Christian movement? And I think one of them said you must have your head blank up blank to even think that way. And it was a comment I made about Trump, which probably in the next sentence I covered my face and went, I can't believe he just didn't stop because he overtalks so often. So I'm like, I don't know. I was just like, I'm not a stranger to that at all.
Who overtalks, Trump or me?
No, Trump. Yeah, no.
I'm accused of that also a lot.
That's why I have that I have that zapper on your ankle. I just hit the button here.
I talk a lot. I think you like spurring me on.
I do. I poke the bear. I love poking the bear.
But like if I was saying left, right, center, well, you've done things as a Republican. I think of you as left of. You're such an open concept guy. And then I think, and I always figure when someone's saying, "How can you think?" You think a lot, and you think a lot.
Well, and when I come in here, Jason, I will immediately take the opposition just because we're not having a conversation unless we're talking about something. So I will even maybe if I agree with you.
We can take the good things and go further.
Right.
Watch
We could
this.
do that, but we also need to make sure that we're self-checking ourselves.
That clickbait. Anyone that clicks on the title, it says, although, and you
Yeah.
get there, if it's the same thing, half the job, they say, if not more, is getting people to get there. Yeah.
Well,
Marketing.
did you all hear last week after the show, Jason and I got in a fist fight in the parking lot?
Blood.
Blood everywhere, you know. I think it was both we didn't have our shoes tied, but we're just going to go with the fist fight.
I thought that was raspberry juice.
It could have been. Yeah, you had your knee high in your hand.
I went down to earth.
There
By
you
the
go.
way, sponsored Down to Earth.
There
We
you
love
go.
you, have you. By the way, you know, this whole thing that we're doing here, we are in such a great place now where, you know, I don't have any video really of my parents, and times my brother may have old tapes.
Yeah.
So, but from us on, everything's recorded or potentially can be, and there's archives. You can see me 30 years ago with Ariel, and you can do what I said and what I did, but now to see it all together and to watch the ideas and how they've been consistent,
Yeah.
and where things go and how it all fits together, and how there are other creators of concept that now can be linked together because technology can do that. They can say, let me read that in a second, what took you an hour to record or whatever, right?
Yeah.
For example, and put it together and show what you've done from here. And also compare it to everything else in the world,
That you've ever
their
said.
world, and the ways that we see the world.
Yeah.
So
and I've
original creation is even more important.
Yeah.
You're an original creation guy. That's
Yeah.
why I say that. Your concept of left of center, right of center, you speak about a lot of things like
It's
you know
fluid.
what you're talking
It's
about.
fluid, though. It's
and
always
you were
fluid.
there and lived things where you're very... Look, you have... How many kids have you adopted? A bunch, right?
A bunch, yeah.
How many people have you helped and through the programs that you worked through the...
Hundreds.
If not
If
thousands.
not thousands. I've taught thousands to swim. Yeah.
Well, and how about
And I've
the
tra-
time
I've-
in
and I've
the,
trained
in the
thousands of-
correctional systems and
Yeah.
what you know about
Behavior
organization?
management, yeah.
And so who sits before you, teaches swim lessons, and uses these words that makes him look like the doctor of swimming?
Well, they do call me the swim whisperer on. They said, "What is that? Who made that comment?" That was on LinkedIn, I think. And it was just like, because it's like if you're trying to enhance or change someone's behavior, and this is what I've done my entire life. So the model I've used is swimming. So if you have an extreme fear of the water, or you've gotten to that point in your life where you're an adult, okay, by the time you make it to adulthood, teaching someone who is adult to swim versus a child is 99% it's just mechanical and 1% mental. When you're an adult, it's 99% mental, generally speaking, and 1% physical. So
Wow.
to change someone's behavior or belief system about water, and maybe generational that no one's learned to swim, and I have that all the time. I've had traveling nurses from the Midwest or generationally have never in their family learned to swim. This one gal I had, she was so amazing. We got her swimming, we were snorkeling, she had time of her life. But generationally, she was from a family that were all college graduates, and nobody had ever learned to swim. Somehow they just missed that. I have a lot of folks on island who grew up here, I never turn anybody away who can't afford swim lessons. I know when the big hotels book me in, they book me in at an exorbitant fee. When I did the royal family from Saudi, I mean, they rented an entire hotel so that I could be walled off with the Saudi daughters. That was, 7 years ago. But I get to Hollywood, folks. I have non-disclosure agreements. If you don't want anybody to know that you've got to learn to swim, I've got that going. But if you take what I do at a very rudimentary level, making these micro changes to people so that they turn their fears to fun, and that's my thing is fear to fun, and you apply that to taking over a third world country and you're the CIA, you can do that exact same thing. I took a class, which was really cool. When I was teaching at Southern Oregon State, which is now the University of Southern Oregon, I was able to take classes for free. That was the cool part about teaching there and coaching there my right out of college. I took this geopolitical class, and we had like guest speakers. We had a general come in, and he talked about this. And I've been reapplying what I heard in that talk, because that talk was at a pizza parlor with beer and pizza. And that was some of those graduate classes where you're just sitting around with a half dozen people, and you're talking to a man who's now retired who said, okay, in your state, these are the critical bridges we have to blow out. These are the roads we're going to need to blow out to protect the dairy industry. We're going to need to take out these roads in order to protect the cattle industry. And we're talking about catastrophic stuff. They've already thought through this. Okay. And on the same note, this gentleman is talking about down in El Salvador and all of that was going on during those Reagan years. Okay, and we're trying to decide, are we with the Sandinistas? Are we with it was going back and forth. And one of my political science professors, Dr. Walker, Dennis Walker, he was my advisor, political science at University of Southern Oregon State back then. He was very prolific in class. He would talk about it. He was found with a bullet in his head in a hole in a hotel in El Salvador. He just went missing.
Wow.
Yeah. So shutting people up who speak the truth seems to be kind of our country. JFK, Martin Luther King, Bobby Kennedy, Charlie Kirk now.
Well, only reason I stopped you was because of the obvious. And that's my cognitive dissonance. I find it hard in this moment, in the way you're talking, to talk about JFK, Martin Luther King, RFK, and Charlie Kirk. Doesn't swallow good. But
No.
I appreciate what you're
Yeah.
talking about, that someone that has things that are meaningful that they say, that they come from their heart.
Yeah.
What they say and whether. That's why I stopped you, because obviously, just like Charlie Kirk was killed and RFK was killed and JFK was killed and Martin Luther was killed, other people are killed that way. I mean, someone crazy in our communities could, that's why you talked about someone with 40 bodyguards. I mean, you yourself, in hearing these kind of attacks that I hear, I'm thinking, why is now Scott thinking to have to be concerned? Because there are people out there, obviously almost daily, if not daily and more, we're seeing people doing hurtful, crazy,
medicated,
aggressive. People driving into churches and exploding things and killing people.
Jason, you started talking tonight to Saft. Where are we? We're in the morning still.
We're in the morning.
You started with how AI is reading everything that we have talked about and creating a outline at the end. Okay, now you might not know this. They took Charlie Kirk, ran it through an AI, and say, find things where he has said hateful things. Find things where he has said blankety blank. Find things.
And it's rare, if not gone.
Almost doesn't exist. Or if something was spoken, it was replying to a question. So they washed that through AI, which is something really amazing.
It is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. So they
and
did.
It came out,
and he
came out
that there was nothing there that was really hateful
he was
or
a
racist.
Loving, caring guy. And he was attractive to the world because he was a loving, caring guy that put himself out there.
He went where people hated him.
I'm going to change the subject to have fun.
Have fun. Have fear to fun.
Last night was a birthday party celebration for the 90th birthday of Jim Loomis. You know Jim Loomis?
I know the name, yeah.
Jim Loomis, 90th birthday party. It was an extraordinary experience in haiku. the guy that did the blowing of the conch shell and with his kid here, and he talking about what it was. The first time I took a camera out from Akaku, and learned to use one of these pro cameras years ago, I went out to the 1-year anniversary of the baby of Jim Loomis, my first 1-year local thing. And there's Jim coming at me with a bowl of star fruit. It's in our old show. Carl Rozecki, who put together and did the vid, picked that spot. That's last night, 90th birthday. The world.
Nice. Yours is next year. I'm looking forward to that.
The reason I bring it up is I did a show years ago called Sages of Our Ages, and it was Jim Loomis.
Nice.
And I interviewed Jim probably 3 more times. I hope to again. Jim, we hope to get you on here again. I'll probably come out to see you, being that you don't drive, you're blind and can't see. But you can't hear. Well, you can hear, and your mind is as sharp as a whip, a dull whip. Jim Loomis is a sage of our. He is. The first writers' conference, I think, or second, he won. I think it was first. Won the writers' conference and came in to accept his award. This was told last. Wearing a loincloth, which is typical Jim, and a feather cape, and he's the guy that, with his long beard and his loincloth, joined in a Kaivalu canoe club. They won a Koa canoe.
Nice.
And here he is, 90. He looked like a god. He's deep sea diver with all the dolphins, John Lilly and all the rest of these guys, but himself, an amazing guy. Had his high school students follow him here. An amazing magnet. So Jim Loomis, if you want to compare you to Charlie Kirk, I don't know if it's even possible, but you are an amazing, loving guy that is an extra poet, writer, fantastic. James Cook Loomis, 90. Happy birthday. What an incredible man. Is. Anyway, I bring him up because RFK, JFK, MLK.
Yeah, we were
Scott
around.
Bushnell. No,
they're not going to shoot me.
I think that we
back.
take our great leaders not off pedestals. We can aspire to their greatness. But if we become and model greatness, a Charlie Kirk. Now, again,
we model Charlie Kirk.
What happens when Charlie Kirk speaks that incites in someone, or when Scott Bushnell says something, or Jason, or MLK? I'm nothing like any of you guys.
Yeah.
But people have their own opinions. And the question is, why is our society now? Is it because they play video games?
No.
Why are they so comfortable
well, you know, if you... I gotta hate to go down this road, but we were gonna have to go down this road about the all the medications that everyone's taking. We just don't know.
That I didn't think about. So,
yeah, and honestly, that's now they know. Well, Tylenol. They've known that Tylenol. It said it on the bottle as long as I can remember, because I'll be sitting on the toilet reading Tylenol bottles, because I don't have my phone with me.
I heard the Tylenol.
Yeah.
Let me hear it.
Okay, so it says don't use it while you're pregnant, or if you're planning to have children, it's recommended not to use it. It says it on the bottle.
All right.
I mean, I've read that for decades.
So what kind of things?
So we have every active shooter, young active shooter in the history of active shooters have all been on psychotropic antidepressants.
You're putting Tylenol in that category?
No, gosh, no.
So,
but we
hear
have
our conversation. Scott's so clever. He brings exciting. See, he likes to inspire me to jump in and go, "Hey, wait a minute! Why are you comparing apples to oranges?"
Yeah.
Scott,
well, no, it's just that we've been taking pills because we all wanted a quick fix. It's just our generation wants to take a pill and just feel good.
And so
we just have blindly been taking pills because they said they're going to make us feel good. I've been prescribed cholesterol medication, and cholesterol's the same as it was in high school, and I've been questioning that now for a while. I'm going, why am I taking something if my cholesterol hasn't changed in 50 years?
Excuse me a second, Scott. Excuse this commercial break. KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui. Akaku, Maui Community Media, Channel 55. On the web at Maui Stream. You can find Maui, I don't mean on the web, on your phone, Maui Stream. And it's a great app. You'll also find us at MauiNeutralZone.com, The Neutral Zone. And you put the name Scott R. Bushnell and Maui, and
you'll find my YouTube channel.
Lessons.
Yeah, you'll find that. You'll find some of my. You'll find my history.
Thank you for joining me. Like I said, a couple of people I had in mind for co-host, summer replacement. I was thinking I already have passed the baton because this is a neutral zone. And
it's fun, and
I like the fact that we talk about things that are important.
They are important,
but we don't fight about it.
No, but you always poke me back when I as soon as I start going down.
I
go down one road
someone.
Over here, Jason. You're yelling the other way. Oh, it's fun. No, I love it. I love that.
Well, we
that's
say yell the
what
other way.
Well, no, because all of a sudden you see me, you're watching my progression, and all of a sudden I watch your face color change, and I'm going like, okay, I think I pushed them as far as I'm going to go for right now, and then you'll light up. It's so fun. And we don't have the debate skills. You know, do you take debate classes or learn any debate
I don't
when
have
you
a debate skill.
Okay.
Let's
So
try.
back in those days, you tried it. You tried when you were debating, politically debating somebody, you found their hot button.
You threw the little ball over there because you know that when they stretch that way,
they go.
might say
The
something
kitty's
weird
gonna chase the feather over here, and then you can go back to what you want to talk about, and it's fun. It really is fun, and
that's called innocence, isn't it?
Well, it is, and I use that when I teach swimming. I truly do, because when we do lessons and stuff, and I see that I'm pushing somebody to that edge of their comfort zone, I will immediately usually switch to another subject. If it was something or other, I'll bring it out of the blue, something, the palm trees, they just trimmed them, or God, they got to cut those coconuts. I mean, I'll move it, and all of a sudden they're within an area that they were afraid to be in before, and now we're going to have a conversation while they're outside of their comfort zone, and all of a sudden their comfort zone, cognitive behavioral changes. So now all of a sudden they're happy standing in the middle of a swimming pool when before they were death gripped on the railing going down the stairs. So it's all part of that process.
And you explain it to them like we're talking now.
I usually explain it after the fact.
Yeah.
I don't.
Hey, and you can listen to these shows. You can read about these shows.
Yeah.
Read the shows now up at our website, MauiNeutralZone.com. You'll see this guy's, your pieces and the work. I love the outlines you created, and you know and have an idea about more than the outlines you've created.
Yeah.
You are an original content guy,
It's been
which
fun.
I've really appreciated. And to see, it's like when you see an AI take ideas and state them that
it really looks good. I was reading all those. I was like, damn.
But then you see what you say. I mean,
Yeah.
people can see.
It's very consistent. I don't think I've really changed a lot.
But neither have I. But so nice to see, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. The cool part is like, I've said this my whole political science, sociology, my whole life. I like to watch, and sometimes it's fun to get into the arena and spar. And sometimes that I gotta watch my opponent and oftentimes you really have to pay attention to the people that are on your side, because sometimes they just go off into some random scary place. So today's world, you can be linked to somebody who all of a sudden kind of went off the deep end and started, podcasting some really weird stuff. And then all of a sudden now, if somebody doesn't like you, they're going to link you to this other person.
Just like you were saying right there. It's like, someone sees that you think an idea that someone that they don't like thinks that idea, and now it becomes against you.
Yeah.
And this social media has a sinister, evil, nasty
Well, I
possibility.
I knew you were
but
going to
we
bring
know
this up.
Possibility.
Yeah.
No, and I bring that up because possibility is not eventuality, nor possibility isn't always negative.
No.
Possibility is as much. That's what possibility is.
It is. Now let's go. I have an Einstein quote because I know we were going to go here today.
Go. I love
Okay. Back in 1938, in New York City, Einstein gave a presentation to a large group. Einstein said, everything is as you see it. So if you get up in the morning and you think you're going to have a good day, you're going to have a good day. If you see somebody and you see the good in them, you will see the good in them. If you see the negative, you'll see the negative. And that's kind of summarizing it. But he said the same premise over and over again. When you observe something, it's more about you than it is about what you observe. So if I looked at the surf this morning when I was doing my miles on the beach, and I'm like, the ocean looks kind of angry to me, because I usually express what the ocean looks like in a feeling word or a such. So I'm like looking at the ocean. I think the ocean kind of looks angry. And then all of a sudden I was like, kind of turned the point, and the ocean feels calm right now. So it's like you observe it. You are the creator of what you observe. So if you want to think Donald Trump is Satan, which if you watch the South Park, it's just so funny. I can't believe that that's okay and humorsome, and so many other things in the world today are so
standards and criteria. For what is,
oh my goodness!
Changed.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny. But it's just like, okay, so you perceive. I think of you as a really wonderful, good person that sees the world differently than I do, which generally speaking, is how I feel about everyone. Because you know what? If you think differently than I do, then I've obviously got something to learn from you, because I'm not seeing it the same way. So
no, but you bring that up, that we don't agree. Does that mean we don't want the same outcome?
Right.
No, likely we want a good outcome for everyone.
Exactly.
Right? So the fact that we do this kind of conversation endears me to you and you guys. That's it. If you care, then there is no hard edge.
No, there is no hard edge.
You've got the
wrong question. And the only wrong question we've heard it our whole life. The only wrong question is a question that you didn't ask. Which is why were there 245 FBI agents at January 6th and we're just now finding it out?
Well, wait. Hold it. That's a different subject. Let me just breathe. Okay. Let me turn to the left. January 6th, not this year. What January 6th are you talking about?
The big insurrection.
What was that, 2020,
2021, maybe? I don't remember, Jason.
Well, when did Trump leave office? When the COVID thing, that was early, obviously.
2019.
That was 2020,
so
right?
2020, January 6th, yeah. That's when Biden took office.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we are.
Yeah, so here we are, and we have...
What happened? 245 FBI agents did
were
what?
there undercover.
Doing what? In the crowd?
In the crowd. So this is the question that I think I maybe they're there doing something just fine. But when they screened the video and they did facial recognition on people, somehow people breaking windows, somehow people breaking doors, somehow people pushing barricades down who they had perfectly good pictures of their face, facial recognition didn't find them. They found random people. But somehow they've got this big, huge list of people who they have perfect video pictures of that they couldn't identify.
And you're saying those are FBI agents?
I don't know, Jason, but I think it's a question worth asking.
No, was that what was proposed, that those missing faces are FBI?
Do you remember?
Is that what you're trying to say?
We don't know, Jason. That's just a question that should be asked.
What kind of question? That's interesting. Just finding that kind of a... Why would one think that anybody that they couldn't figure out was a
Okay.
government.
Now let's take it. The left has been saying this forever. Okay, back during Vietnam and the riots and all of that. We now know, which we have known for 20, 30 years, that the government and what was that guy's name? That crazy head of the FBI for so long. Hoover. That he had put people in place to agitators, government agitators, who would turn some of those peaceful protests and kind of move them different directions. Hoover was manipulating that behind the scenes. So this is not new for the government. Totally not new.
No, but I'm just...
And it's what the left, but the left side is always blaming.
I have to stop because, first of all, this is a family show. No. First of all, when I hear this, it takes and elevates things to a level of frenzy that I don't want to give to our audience. I want to de-escalate.
Well, I think we just need to ask the questions.
For our government, I understand, but those kind of questions are, I want to say, beyond my control.
Right.
And,
and mine.
And so I want to try to see under our control. That's how I think.
Yeah. But I think the real question is,
those things are scary because I can't change the way society is
going.
No,
I can't.
And it's at a level, and sinister elements, whatever
maybe they were there on their own accord. So all law enforcement are trained observers. That's part of their job. So when we had the January 6th hearing, we had 250 trained FBI agents who are observers. They would have been great testimony.
I'm asking about that facial recognition piece. That's what they're saying, that those faces that aren't identified are FBI?
No, they're not. That's a question I would like to have answered, though.
That's an interesting question. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we know there was
but you know that they say, it is written, that 245 FBI people were where?
They were in the crowd. That's
besides what was in the
and
the
Comey and all these people lied to Congress that they didn't know anything about that, and now it's documented heavily that they did know it. So
now just again, the thing that I'm concerned about in our show, is because those things may be, and again, and I can't refute them, and because others won't check facts, and because those are the people that call you and write to you and say, you son of a gun. And so that I don't like escalating that.
Okay, let's turn the page. I came in with a whole nother subject.
Well, me too.
Okay, Lahaina is now the poster boy.
Good, we have another.
Lahaina now.
Poster boy of
for when you have a community that keeps enacting ordinances and changes to building codes and things for decades upon decades upon decades. I moved here. This is the way the codes are going to be. Nothing's going to change. I'm grandfathered in. Go ahead, pass all these rules about building. Now they're bit in the butt. California, they're screaming. Because they have families and people that are our age, they're lost their homes, they have insurance money, they want to move, they want to build a house, and now because of all these little tiny bureaucrats just loaded up this whole thing to protect the community, is now keeping that community from regrowing.
Well, that's why the definition of housing and temporary housing and alternative community plans and redistricting for different things and technologies that are brought in that are outside of the box that normally took 25 years and 30 years to, that's a good idea. You can do that now.
Yeah.
And the world has moved on past it in potential.
I mean,
the world, that's what
they
you're
used
talking
to,
about.
during the 70s, 60s, and 70s, they were putting up a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with a double-car garage in less than 60 days.
So let's go back to Lahaina. So who's going to put a council in that's going to give us the freedom to do different kind of communities with alternative building materials, and you've seen a couple of those things here on this show. But how do you do that?
How do you do that?
In
Well,
other words,
this goes.
those limitations. You've recognized them as limitations.
Yeah, very limited.
How do you propose we make that happen now differently?
Well, it goes back to my primer about politicians. It really is.
Go ahead.
You need to put people in office who have a history and a personal knowledge of how to run a business and develop personal wealth and create for their own self so that they can show what they've successfully done personally. We keep putting people in office. Like, if I were to go into office, I've run a business, but I can't say that I've run one that's been extremely successful. Yeah, I think we need to have people that understand
those concepts. You speak so good conceptually, but when I said about council, I'm talking about here locally.
Right, we need a council that understands.
I know people that think that Donald Trump was a good businessman, and then someone else says he went bankrupt 6 times.
Pretty common.
He didn't pay these people and those people. So I don't want to get national and talk about concepts.
We'll talk locally, okay?
Because
let's just stay local.
I said, how do we that Lahaina thing that you brought up?
We need to have people who actually know what it takes to build a home.
This electorate aware.
Who can we get elected that knows how to build a house?
Well, then
that would be a real great foundation.
Let's use that as an example.
Yeah.
Tom Cook.
Do
you think Tom Cook, who knows how to build a house, is more important to have in there than someone who's saying, look, we have to make environmental changes and do things in an alternative way? So does Tom Cook want to only favor the things where the big way he's getting money?
I think we just need get her done people.
But now we have a system where we're putting those people against each other based on where they live.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
but
we didn't choose.
Let's just go back to
let's go back
to building codes. We have some of the best building codes in the nation here in Hawaii. We build things better. We make them stronger. We make them hurricane proof. We build them right. We have insulation requirements that are better than anywhere else. And so we have money available for alternative insulation. We have money available for alternative plastic wood sources. We have all of these things available. They're there, but nobody seems to have this vision of get her done. We want to talk about a 2x4, but we need a whole lot of it, and we need a lot of glass, and we need a lot of this, we need a lot of that. We get people that are center focused on one thing, and they can't see that we're building a house.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. When we talked about, you brought up Lahaina and you talked about the building codes, the fast track on building codes, can that be done where we now can start people building? Is that what you're saying?
I think we should.
I talked about alternative things.
They're already available. They're
central
available.
Kitchen, where everyone has their own place in the central kitchen, central group room. There are places on this island that are, I want to say, off the. They're not off the grid.
No, our family farm is off the grid.
Conventional housing, non-conventional.
But if I want to build my house back the way it was, that's all I'm asking.
Can't do Lahaina anymore. They got to do the conventional way, right?
No, they just want to build their conventional home back.
No, you're talking about them as you first started by saying that things were built non-conventional and they can't build it back, and then you're switching to talking about the people wanting to build.
They want to build their homes
back.
Their houses were added onto or grandfathered in and had added additions to. There might have been 2 or 3 families living in one home, and now that same square footage of lot can only withstand 2 toilets and a shower.
I understand those. Yeah. Those are changes and restrictions.
And those aren't new.
I was talking on a different level. I was talking on thousands and thousands of people.
Well, you want to change society.
You talked about you talked about all those building materials. But though that money's been spent differently. It's been spent
those monies haven't gone away. Those monies are outside of the fire.
So why aren't there people doing these things? Why aren't they cleaning away and letting those things happen.
Those
Because
things
of
are
what?
all legal.
Well, how do we get through the red tape part?
That's up to our mayor, our governor, and I believe Mayor Bissen is really on the forefront of that. I've watched some of his stuff. He's definitely on the right track. I question our governor and his priorities, but I think Mayor Bissen is fighting hard to get these families to be able to break ground. I truly am. And Jason, okay, if you wanted an alternative for your insulation in your home, it's very expensive. Did you know there's already monies available for that? You're basically not spending any more money. They're there. You just have to take
Scott,
the time.
I hear you. I'm just stopping it because your conversation.
You want to change society.
No. You're talking about those are already people that have a house.
They don't. They're burnt.
Please. Well, please wait. Those are people that had and now they have money and they can't play in the way they want to play in the game. Wait. We're a society. This is a tourist island. The Lahaina. I'm not talking about. You talked about Lahaina. The building codes. I was talking about expanding the building codes to alternatives, and you're talking about someone who wants to add on their house in a non-conventional
Well, are you talking about
way.
new property that wasn't built on
I'm talking
previously?
about, like you said. No, they don't have. It's burnt. You can't rebuild Lahaina to make it the old Lahaina that people wanted to come see.
Why not?
Because it's non-conventional. It's non-conforming. You can't.
Why can't we do something different?
It's going to take time. I'm talking about the economy
Why is
of
it
this
going to
place.
take time?
Because there's not enough money to support, and if there is money,
Why does it
who
take?
controls
Why?
that money?
Wait, it cost $1,800 a square foot to build on the west side.
That's absurd. You know that.
That's
absurd.
baseline. That's not a luxury home.
No. I'm stopping it right there. This
Okay.
conversation is not what I want to do on this show.
Okay.
$1,800 a square foot to build a place.
Yes.
I'm looking at the time. This man has lost his mind.
I know.
I remember $100 a square feet, and people thinking, well, that's way high. And now they're talking $1,800 a square foot. So any of you who are making $10 an hour, $20 an hour, $100 an hour, who are these people he's talking about that are building houses at $1,800 a square foot?
So if you take a 1,000 square foot home at $1,700 a square foot, what is a building cost?
I'm blocking the camera. That's blocking his face.
Okay, no, it's just
$1,800 a square foot.
Okay,
so multiply
so
that out.
That times 1,000.
So 1.8 million or 180,000? It's 1.8 million.
1.8 million.
So you want to build a house, going to cost you bucks.
A lot. That's why I don't own a home. You don't own a home. No.
So I said.
Yeah.
So your story about what they want to do is not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking about the people that need emergency housing. That
right, and we're building ghettos.
They can take the earth and straw and this and build a structure, and they can power it themselves, create their own water, everything. But it doesn't allow it to be if it's this and that.
No.
Alternative housing means cluster housing outside of conventional. I'm talking about. I lived last night. I told you 90th birthday party.
Yeah.
Jim Loomis in his loincloth or naked at the King's Pool with people and all the rest of the world. That community has been on Maui and is an.
I love them. They're wonderful people.
No, but that world needs that. There aren't people.
In your mind.
No, I don't think that most people that I know on Maui are going to ever support building homes for all the people that lost their homes for $1.8 million. It's going to take forever.
Yeah.
Why would a tourist come here to come to Lahaina when they're rebuilding their homes? That's going to take 5 years,
25 years.
So why would you come here otherwise?
Because Maui's beautiful.
Right, but again, we talking about Lahaina.
I love
Switch
Lahaina.
the subject.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Alternative. I talked
For the
about
world.
alternative housing.
Okay.
That's the subject I was trying to aim at.
Okay.
And I was really bringing it up when you bring up about the building codes.
Right.
We'll bring on Joe's
Well,
Plumbing to talk
we're
about
building
that.
all kinds of new ghetto
I don't
housing.
know. What's ghetto mean? 400,000?
No, I'm talking about the rental that they're building, or they're basically modeling that after the projects on the East Coast. Anytime you do every time you do subsidized housing, which I have no real problem with. My problem with is subsidized housing 20 years down the road, they never fund it to keep the buildings and such in good, healthy condition, and then they turn into projects.
Well, again, the reason we don't talk about this stuff is because I'm not talking about long-term anything.
Yeah.
That thing he's talking about subsidized housing, they have small footprints and they cluster people in. And over years, they learn that kind of environment, sort of like a rat in a cage, whatever. That's for another show about what they're doing. I'm just talking about the way to handle the level of people that are here on island that need to be housed and need to build housing, and that there are alternative ways of building, that they could have a house in 30 days. If nobody bothered, they could have in groups, everyone helping each other. They could all have housing. Now, that's because I opened up the idea of alternative housing and environmental clusters and building clusters in a new way. Not those people with their little extension on their someday house. I'm not talking about that.
I just want the people who lost their homes to have their homes back.
That's
all I want.
They can move somewhere else in the meantime.
So you're not going to let them move back to their property?
No, if they have $1.8 million to build that house, I would let them, and they can do it.
And hopefully it'd be worth $3 million in another 10
but in
years.
the meantime, we have 7,000 people.
I don't want to tell anybody who owns property what to do with it.
No, but while you're arguing that, which is excellent, that argument deserves to be argued.
Okay, well you're on another boat.
No, yes, I'm trying to open the door to the masses of other people that can't afford those things. You're right in your group,
yeah.
But I'm talking about opening the door to alternative housing. When I talk about cluster housing, there is a way to open the gate through the council, through law, to limit opportunity for alternative housing solutions.
Is it
temporary or long-term?
Is it financially feasible?
Yes. Of course. The answer is not only is it yes, it's super yes.
Cool.
Well, I've had people on this show. We've talked about it.
No, I've been to so many Earth homes in New Mexico. They're incredible.
Again, what we're talking about, they make it Earth homes like it's hard to do.
It's easy.
And far away. Well, that's the whole point. That if we don't let those things happen, where we can have those kind of alternatives happen, we're going to have the kind of upheaval that continues.
They're just
and
going to
creates
leave.
A society here.
They're going to leave, and big money's going to come in, and then
then they have that thing they talk about, Lahaina, everyone's picking and choosing and buying up. Mm-hmm. Well, those are the rich getting richer. The people.
No, that's corporate America being corporate America.
Okay, well, but those kind of discussions are not the ones that are locally. That's why the council question.
Okay.
Because who's going to help get alternative housing opportunity to be able to
You are,
solve
Jason.
the
I can't
problem?
wait to have you run for office because you're the best spokeswoman I know.
Well, but I'm outspoken, but I'm not the one in those chairs. Out of 7, they had 6 people, and the one they chose, Tasha Kama, is not doing what most people had wanted. But then they don't even understand what's going on and why that vote was so critical. And they don't know that Jason Schwartz is the one to help lead their charge, or they would have been doing it 30 years ago or more. And through the years, I've been outspoken. I haven't hidden, and I'm consistent in what I've been saying. And I try to do it with love, and I try to do it with uplifting of everyone, and the numbers do count. Opportunity to open the housing gate to alternative housing solutions, even on a limited basis, will help solve the problem now. We only have 2 minutes left. Is that right? Holy
I got a couple.
macaroni.
Okay.
Well,
No,
I thought it said 12,
I'm coming
but
from.
it says-
I work with people who are very upset and angry about Lahaina. That's my job. Helping them get over their frustration and anger.
No, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I
And
don't
99% of it
anyone
resembles
I don't work
those.
for anyone specifically. What I do is I'm
You're the man.
truly no. I'm truly looking at how to.
You're the man, Jason. He's the man. He's in charge. You got to grease Jason before we get anything done in this town.
What are we watching? A script? Is that a script? We want to see a script.
Oh,
In fact, we invite all those that want to be involved in this show to get in touch.
Absolutely.
Please. We love you. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
But love and appreciate you, Scott. Scott R. Bushnell.
Yep.
We are on Akaku, Maui Community Media Channel 55. Maui stream on your phone. You'll see they have 3 channels of Akaku, Maui Media, Maui Community Media, and radio station, KAKU 88.5 FM. Also online at MauiNeutralZone.com, MauiNeutral.zone. Should get you there. Also, we're sponsored by Maui Coast Property.
Nice.
MauiCoastProperty.com. We give 60% of the money. That's because it's sponsored by me.
There you
We
go.
need sponsors and share sponsors. You'll be seeing our whole website has been redesigned for membership because we have a nonprofit. Well, there's only no time left, but hey, you know what?
That was fun.
That was fun.
I love it when I get you heated
Oh,
up.
you got me heated. Everyone have a good week. We will see you next week. I have Steve Blake. That's going to be a great show about your mind. Oh, hitting the button. We're out of here. My goodness. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. Blessings and aloha.